I mean, it's an amazing conference. It's the first time the Findhorn Foundation has come, and it's great that we're here networking with everybody because there's a lot of like-minded people, but what's really nice is there's so many different sections to the conference.
So that's the cycle of pathology. Growth at all costs leads to short-term investment. How do we continue to feed this machine with the oil it needs to run smooth? Human resources, right? You have this beautiful cycle of people saying, yes, I want to fulfill that. How are we going to do it? In a way that respects our wholeness and respects our purpose. These things come first. We're going to do it through self-management. And in that flow, as we sense and respond to what changes the world brings us, we're going to decide, renewal, how do we want to evolve? So it's this beautiful cycle.
So one of the things that we're noticing is how present was that dad? I mean, he was there, he was present, he was connected, you know. But what we're having a lot in our current technology is people are present to their phones, they're present to their iPads, they're present to things. So one of the things that's so important in childhood development is a present parent. And if we're not present, then it's neglect. And we're seeing the effects of neglect upon children. And actually the size of the brain up to 30% smaller in neglected children than children that have contact.
Anyway, this is just one example. I found it on just on YouTube. This proud dad was showing us all just how a parent who loves his kid is teaching his child how to visualize early on at 1.0, and that's a really important thing. Now there are mirror neurons that are proposed that help children copy, so they will also start copying things that parents do. So there's all these different ways that support our babies interacting with the parents.
Would the true grown-ups please stand up? Do it with me. Please stand up now for a moment. Just get up. Thank you. That's what we need to reinvent Europe. I wish you a great conference.
Green also means approaching a person, meeting the person, connecting the person, and that's where the real magic starts. That's the good green. That's what we need more for the integral community. And the other half is exactly that green and higher practices, relational practices, transformational practices, magical states or higher states or older states if you wish. Red is power. Please understand that your power doesn't come from green or higher. Your power comes from the deeper structures, not the higher structures. If you couple with your inner power that comes from purple and red, with the awakeness and awareness of green sensitivity, let alone feeling the field and the group, then you become an integral leader. So we believe in integral leadership as a full spectrum development of the personality.
Hence, green is now causing an enormous amount of massive cultural turmoil in Europe with its deeply contradictory ways. Green loves the religious extremists, while the extremists themselves do not in any way love them back, and actually have them lined up for beheading along with all the other great Satan, infidel, modern and postmodern Western cultures. The simple rule learned by Orange, namely, you extend tolerance to everybody except those who do not themselves extend tolerance, has been totally forgotten by Green.
So that there are missing pieces in our practice. There are these holes that we don't know exactly how to fill them up. The pathways to process tension there for organizational tensions, personal tensions, or matters concerning legal issues, investment, are processes at play for all these issues.
This is the first time I've ever been to this conference, and Benza is responsible for getting me to the conference. He is absolutely so impressive in the way that, for me, the integrity, along with the honesty and really putting action to your words, was what got me interested in accepting an invitation. That's exactly what he is. And coming here has just taken it full circle and reiterated that not only him, the team, the group of people that are here, it's so contagious, it's real, it's integrity-filled, the energy to come together and collaborate.
When you learn how to love yourself, because I never loved myself, I loved everyone else, but when you learn to love yourself first and live as your unique self, your unique, beautiful blueprint that you came into this planet with, and embrace it and embrace your gifts, then it's not about one person, it's about coming together. Everybody with their contributions, their beautiful contributions. That's how we're going to change the world. Seen it.
It can actually halt the evolutionary process of the transformation that is required if a person's experiences is invalidated because of the fear that's created. And that can actually precipitate a spiritual crisis.
We look forward to helping people, helping clinicians, and people who have gone through spiritual emergence or spiritual crisis to come together and to help them network in such a way that we can foster best practices cross-culturally.
Well, there's more, that there is a hope out there. All these anomalous experiences, they're heading towards wholeness.
Spiritual emergencies, that people in spiritual emergencies have the mobilization of self-healing potential, so that, and we don't have to have a special discipline called transversal psychology. It's just going to be psychology.
Now you see, I put the spiral right in the middle. This is not just a values thing. The spiral, the master code, is right here in the vortex. And I said, Claire, what would you like for me to do? He says, Don, I want you to take on the wicked problems. South Africa, Middle East, where people have given up, and see if what I have created has the power. And what will it take to put together a new Europe? Spiral dynamics.
Refer to natural occurrences in personal evolution in which a person feels disoriented and overwhelmed for a period of time by spiritual and anomalous experiences beyond the realm of the intellect.
Well, this conference is a wonderful opportunity to meet like-minded people, people who are already very inspired about integral, about spiral dynamics, about the Thiel principles, of course.
I'm here to talk about, as I said, the color of my shirt, but it doesn't actually matter what color it is. It's the principles behind it that brings people together. And getting to know what is inside us and how to bring it outside, also with other people.
Now you as an adult, between 7 a.m. waking up and 10 p.m. going to bed, go through at least a couple of dozen ego state changes during the day. So your very actual life is not that you are a level, but you are a constantly changing flow of ego states, consecutively deepening, opening of the psyche from the gross reality, like the five senses, to the final and full awakening, enlightenment that the mystics are talking about.
I just love when people are coming together with this deep longing for a change in this world, with the openness to confront themselves with the shadows and celebrate the possibilities we have to create a new Europe on a basic of more harmony and peace.
The heart has in it this silence, and not too inherently a love, a radiation of love that just loves all that is, everybody, all at once.
So for mystics, the question is, why are we at all talking about reinventing Europe? Why does this question arise in us? Because every time there is a question, questions are evolutionary engines. Questions are part of the lovemaking of the future with the past.
how short a time you took a creative risk and you actually performed it, and everyone else could enjoy it. I mean, it just takes so little, and yet we forget how to start to understand the situation and assess it differently, because you're not in the situation, but you're representing it.
Does anybody here believe that there is a blueprint of their life somewhere in a cloud with everything mapped out in a script? Does anybody have that belief that their life is already scripted? No. So I'm going to offer you, we are all improvisers. So this time when I ask you to find someone to work with, you're going to make eye contact with somebody across the room, walk over to them, open your arms out and say, I would be delighted to work with you on this next exercise. Okay, off you go, go and find someone to work with.
Helping the ecosystem of teal initiatives and projects to see itself. Because when it happens, then it amplifies the collective consciousness of the ecosystem, and it can become more impactful, and this is what we want. We want to help the teal movement move from a relatively fringe phenomenon, still it's growing fast, but it's still on the edge of society, to become mainstream.
My main motivation to organize this conference is to create spaces where integral consciousness can express in the world, to bring together all the people who share that mission.
Capitalism is experiencing one of its most profound challenges in its history. Some scholars even believe that capitalism will not survive the current technological disruption. The disruption has begun, and it won't be a third industrial revolution. It won't be a fourth industrial revolution. It will be an info-industrial evolution.
I'm talking about the refugee issue, how Europe can cope with the refugee issue. They can't come from green to do red. They victimize red. So I'm talking about how green can embrace red, the red energy.
I think this is one of the traumas we have in Europe, and that we have to talk about this.
Right. What is this profoundly catastrophic dynamic of falling back?
I think the West cast their shadow on the Middle East.
The current crisis. Right now in the world, there's about 60 million persons displaced. That is almost exactly the number of people that were displaced.
The middle class is blue, and the refugees are purple-red. Green sees red as a victim, and a victim can overpower green.
So we have to be more red in order to deal with red.
You have to surround them by blue laws.
You have to understand that no one puts children in a boat unless the water is safer than the land. I know that anywhere is safer than here.
amazed by the diversity of people and interests that are here, and fantastic opportunity to meet people from all over Europe and all over the world. So I'm very honoured to be here.
This conference was the first opportunity for many of us who have been working and considering ourselves part of a teal community to really come together for the first time.
Groundswell for next stage organization, which is many times much larger than all the organizations presented in this room.
I think 80% of the Dutch organizations are starting also to work the same way. So it become mainstream ministry, and she asked me to advise her on how the principles can be used in education. So, yes.
That the people who embark on this journey, like Zoe and Peter and Una, they're heroes.
Well, what we need is support each other in learning to deal with the tricky bits.
It is a love of life, it's a love of others as in their potential, sometimes seeing the unfinished portrait in them, etc.
I'm interested in the reawakening of our consciousness, of finding parts of ourselves that we forget, parts of ourselves that are split off, parts of ourselves that are cut off. So what does Africa offer?
Yes, authenticity actually emerges within the self-authoring mind. Because in the socialized mind, your authenticity is going to be tied to the system, the context that you're in. Whereas in true authenticity, only arises in that level of consciousness. So we have a lot of work to do. And the lot of work is transformation of consciousness.